There should be no death saving throws in D&D.
Get out of here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to DM Registering, where we demystify the DMing process by coming up with monsters, magic items, and all kinds of things live. In this case, we're starting, I guess, with a hot take from Spencer, which is there shouldn't be death saves. We'll round the corner on that in just 1 second. So today, we are waving a fond farewell to Tales in the Dark. We're going to do one more day, we're going to clear up a couple of last-minute things, and then we are going to shuffle on to other things the next time that we come through here. Not sure what that's going to be, but we're getting into the kind of nitty-gritty after what we do today. That's going to be like, what are the odds that they succeed on any given roll? What's the third ability of one of our character classes? Things that we will enjoy coming up with, but that don't make for the best radio in the world, because it's a lot of like, should we call this ability justice or vengeance? It's going to be a lot of that.
+2 or +3. How breaking is it going to be?
A lot of thesaurus.com. It's going to be a lot of that. So we're going to probably do most of that work sort of off here. What do you want to replace death saves with? Do you just not want them at all? It's just you die when you get to 0, Call of Cthulhu style?
You hit 0 and you die. We have enough revivifies and resurrections. I would say no saves, 1 round of combat where you're unconscious before you die. If your party doesn't get your ass back up, you're just dead.
I like it. It's kind of like somebody needs to apply pressure would be the name of the action, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to get rid of death saves in D&D, it would have to be you are alive for 1 more round, and somebody can burn their action to keep you alive for 1 more round until somebody can heal you, and you either do or you don't. One of my favorite systems in, I think it's Call of Cthulhu, if you land on exactly 0 HP, you are unconscious. If you go negative, you die.
Which never happens.
I just think is just extremely funny because the odds of it happening are just like so low. I've always wanted to run a Call of Cthulhu stream on our channel. I think that would be a blast. Michael, what's up?
I think it'd be cool if you had like based on what your Constitution modifier is. Like if you have +5, you could say 5 more.
Oh,
rounds.
a number of rounds equal to your con mod before you die.
That'd be pretty
Not
cool.
bad. That's pretty good. The wizard with -2. When you get to 10 health, you die.
You die.
You die before. You don't even get there.
It makes con less of a dump stat.
That's
if
true.
that's the case. It's like, I need at least 1.
That's interesting. A lot of pressure to keep the party up with heals, too. If anybody even gets low, you're like, heal him. Like you have no other choice. All right, so we should get started here. So, for those of you who don't know what we're doing now and in the future, we are creating a Forged in the Dark system. They are all based on a game called Blades in the Dark, which is super duper fun by Evil Hat Studios or Productions. I can't remember which name it is. It's a game about a group of criminals trying to establish themselves in the underground and gain control of their territory. We visualized that through Spencer's initial prompt as kind of a monster hunting game where the odds are against you. You aren't trying to take on some lone wolf in the woods a la D&D. You are trying to take down the evil baron, the Dracul. You're trying to counter something that's plan is long in the works and that has outmaneuvered you before you were even born. And so everything you're trying to do is uphill. It divides into 3 groups, the first being the A-team, the survivors, the people that have a good chance at succeeding, the main characters. You also have a research team. You have your kind of B team, you have your helpful scholars who are going to find information, maybe get into a little bit of trouble, maybe die by the end of the movie, but otherwise be fine. And then you have your C team. These are wily sidekicks and side characters who are going to try to help and almost certainly die in the process. If you want to listen to us talk about that, then after you watch this stream, mosey on over there and you can onto our channel and you can watch those other 2. It's a pretty tight little 3-episode session, especially now that we've slightly shortened the runtime of this show. It used to go for maybe a little too long. Now we go 7:30 to 9, right? 7:30, 9:30?
7:30 to 9.
Yeah, 7:30 to 9. Been a big help for us. Keep it a little more concise. You know what it keeps you from doing? Getting on thesaurus.com on a live stream and being like, what should we call the third attribute? Speaking of attributes, go ahead. You interrupted me in the middle of a transition.
I know, I was trying to use that transition as a talking point. Sorry. I think that how he goes is pretty good, though. We started with long form it prepped us to be more concise and quick, and it sharpened our minds in a training arc almost.
Yeah, we did a bunch of resistance training. That's for sure.
Spencer's wearing ankle weights right now.
Mm-hmm. You just can't see him because camera cuts off a little bit too high.
So
We use weighted dice.
we're going to kick things off by talking about what I was just mentioning, attributes. Specifically, we're going to talk about two things that define your ability to do the things you want to do in Forged in the Dark games. Your attributes and your actions. You have 3 attributes in Blades in the Dark games. These are the large categories that allow you to sort of mostly make saves, protect yourself from danger. And those categories are each made up of 4 actions. These are more specific things that you can do when you are trying to like take an actual action and interface with the world. So let me give an example from Blades in the Dark. I just looked down and realized I had closed my PDF of that. Don't know why I did that. Kind of a strange maneuver, Ethan. I'm vamping, and it's taking longer than I thought it would.
It's because you had the whole thing memorized.
So
That's
first,
true.
we need to
training.
define what actions are.
So, for instance, an attribute in Blades in the Dark is Insight. And the actions underneath the attribute of Insight are Hunt, Study, Survey, and Tinker. Hunt is like using a long rifle, is tracking somebody. Study is exactly what it sounds like, going to the library, getting the information that you need. Survey is getting the lay of the land, kind of the classic ranger action. And Tinker is rigging and messing with things. So we should probably start with the larger attributes here. In Blades in the Dark, they are Insight, Prowess, and Resolve. Insight has to do with your mental strength, Prowess has to do with your physical strength, and Resolve is both magic and telling people what to do and making them listen to you. So that's what they sort of go with. So we can stick with something similar, or we can move in another direction. What are we thinking, kind of, what are our initial thoughts here? Like, would it feel like... We can start by just getting some ideas on the wall of what do you think the key abilities of a character in something like this is? What do you think, like, how do you define some of these archetypes that we're talking about?
I would say number 1 on my mind is like will. Very similar to Resolve. It's your ability to stay where you are and do the things you need to do in the face of terrible, horrible, frightening danger.
So that would be one of the attributes then, would be like your
Yeah.
actual ability to stay in the moment. It's funny, I'm immediately Disco Elysium brain rot. I was thinking volition, your ability to stay into an uncomfortable situation. Volition, tenacity.
Tenacity's fun.
Okay, but so we get the idea right there. It's not quite endurance, it's willpower.
Soul.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
that like I will not yield kind of energy that I think really defines the genre, right? It's everybody's in danger. I'm not going to run. I'm going to strap myself into the cargo loader and go fight the alien queen on the helipad. I think that's obviously kind of something that we're working with here.
Call like stubbornness, bullheadedness.
Little wordy, but okay. So if you have any strong ideas for that outside of what we've already said, I'm going to tentatively just write down willpower for now, and we know that is roughly what we mean, and we can negotiate some of the more details there. So if willpower is your mental ability to keep going, I think obviously we need your physical ability to keep going. Each of these should have a couple of combat and a couple of utility actions beneath them.
Sure.
So my thought after willpower obviously would then be either endurance, strength, maybe skill, something that refers to like physical ability that has been built up over time.
My first word that popped in my head was acuity, but that's actually still more mental than anything, so I can't go with acuity.
First thought
I wouldn't
for
even
me-
put it under... Go ahead.
First thought for me was muscle.
Yeah, I was thinking brawn, but I think that's too specific.
I think
brawn
it's one of
would
the
be like
actions
one of the
is
things.
muscle or brawn.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, then I think I think I'm going to just put physique, and we can kick on to the next one.
Sure, physique works for now.
We can double back, but we do have a couple of categories to take care of, and like I said, let's save having to just sort of rake through different words. Let's save that for the end if we can manage it. So if your Willpower, your ability to keep going, is one of these, and your physique is another. What is left? What is our third? Is your force of personality a part of your willpower, or is it its own thing?
I would change willpower to will, and I would put that under the same category.
So willpower to you, would include tenacity and charisma, which I think makes sense, right? There's a magnetic quality to people who don't give up, in the kind of classic Captain America, getting back up after they've been hit down way. So I think that's fair. Will, physique, and then
I would do like keenness.
I was thinking intuition.
So. Yeah, intuition, keenness, perception, all those things. Picking up on clues, seeing a way out, like all that shit. I'm going to
temporarily steal a word for Monster of the Week. I'm going to write sharp. I think sharp captures that for me pretty well. Yeah. All right, so now we have these 3 broad categories here. So let's kick over to, well, number 1, where's magic going, and is there magic? We have some classes that are at least going to have to do some magical things. My question is one of the abilities they are going to invest in doing the magic? Or is it just that they are inherently magical, and so when they describe the actions they would do anyways, they will describe it magically? This is actually a big piece for those of you listening. This is meant to be kind of an informative show. This is huge DMing advice from me. If you want a bad guy who is like really intensely magical or mystical, but the only stat block you have that works really well, like the only, you need a CR7 stat block to finish out your fight. You really wanted this to be somebody magical, but the only thing that's in the book that fits the role of the character is the like gladiator stat block. Just narrate the sword as like a carving of eldritch magic through the sky. Make it this will be contested. Just make it have a range of 60 feet and disadvantage if they're right up in your face. Like, it's not going to change things that much. The party will adapt very quickly, and that's the easiest way to sort of bend one of those. I can give a direct example. If you go watch The Party Makes Things Worse, our last episode, a monster that you will encounter that is called the Medic, as far as I am concerned, this was the Maiden in the Iron Mask. The Medic is just a grave collar ghast. It's just, instead of sickening you if you get too close, it charms you, because I described it as that sensor of perfume. And instead of doing necrotic damage from a distance, I had it do lightning damage because I wanted it to be able to heal the flesh golem. 2 little changes completely changes the monster. So that's kind of what we're doing now. We're sort of engaging with that, like, that thought of, do we want there to be a skill that is these people doing magic, or is that just a narrative tool for us?
I think we could do magic being a subcategory of will. It's like you're putting yourself in, like, magic is uncomfy. If you're monstrous, you yourself are uncomfortable with the world around you because you don't fit.
Oh, so it's kind of magic, your ability to use magic without getting the negative consequence, which makes sense, right? If we're in a kind of a monster setting, then using magic always carries that kind of background caveat of, will you get a little too close as you are interacting? All right.
And I think putting it under that category works because you are enacting your will on the universe via magic in a way that's not totally natural. So I think that it fits there really well.
My lights just flickered. I hope that doesn't turn into any kind of situation. If it does, my bad. We'll have to see.
I'll keep my eye on the stream just in case.
Yeah. No, man, it does not want us to use will for magic.
So, all right. So something under will, we want to be magic, but we want that magic to have the sense that you are sort of resisting the pull of the deep dark, which I think makes a lot of sense. So I'll write. What do we want to write for that? Something about resisting going all the way nasty. Right? Something about keeping your humanity, or...
Lizard brain?
Just brain. No,
honestly, calling your magic ability lizard is... I don't know why, but that does seem funny to me. Not for any particular reason. All right, for now, I'm just going to write magic.
Yeah.
Alas,
we could do something like connection. Yeah.
we shall. I think this will be the. I literally think this will be the end of our stream. Is we will come back and we will be like, what do we name the
do
magic
real
ability?
words.
Like, what do we do
Yes.
for there? Because by that point, the people watching will be hooked. They won't want to leave. All right.
Uh-huh.
So, what are some others? So then we have magic, and then under will we also want like force of personality. We want like charisma, draw, something like that. I think that works really well. What is the action then that is? Do we want something like pain threshold here?
I would put like tenacity for that. Pain threshold, constitution, all in one.
So now we have under will, which is our attribute. We have the following actions. We have doing magic, we have influencing people, and we have bearing down. What is one more expression of willpower that you could do? One that we could steal from Blades in the Dark, or at least sort of riff on, I think would be command. It's different than charisma. It is, order, it's authority, a very different approach to the same thing.
I think that works. We can throw command in there for now. We can find a name later.
Ooh, interesting. I'm gonna write it at the bottom because I think that maybe that goes under sharp.
You think?
Sharp, doesn't that feel more like something that the clear-headed person does than the charismatic person? I don't imagine the charismatic characters being like, get down, right? I imagine our professional character off in the wings being the one that shouts that.
They get
issuing a
the
command.
ethos.
See, I see both sides like equally.
Like as
So
a
that's a
captain
hard one.
position, the force of personality leading. We'll put it over somewhere else for now, and then we can double back.
Yeah.
Sure.
So under will, we have magic, we have charisma, we have tenacity. I think let's hold off and jump to the next one before we get too lost in the weeds.
See what we're missing.
Physique is our second. So this is about skill, talent, muscular strength, your ability to, use your muscles to influence the world. I think obviously the initial divide that immediately comes to mind is, do we want one that is like, we should have one that is just violence.
Yeah. Kicking some ass.
Because I think each category, taking a look at the way that Blades in the Dark does this, which I think is really effective, each category has a way to hurt. It's hunt, finesse, and attune all have something to do with like hurting. They all have a way to gain information, right? Study, prowl, and consort. They all have another way to gain information. They have survey. Prowess doesn't really have another one. That is interesting. But resolve has command, and then wreck for prowess is another of those sort of like brute force skills. So there is a little bit of a lean, but you want some crossover. So everybody needs a way to hurt, right? And everybody needs a way to do some other things. So I think first up for physique, then we'll do
violence.
Yeah, violence. You are capable. You can hurt other things. I think that works. Violence would be number one. Number two, I think maybe athlete.
Yeah.
Is like just raw athletics. Is just you can run a marathon and not stop.
Yeah.
And I kind of like separating that out from will, because it's not about your sort of mental acuity. It's just about your ability to continue physically to keep going.
Yep.
I see the bullet coming at me. My body cannot react in time.
Yeah, that's kind of the nightmare, right? That's a high, sharp, low physique character. Has just enough time to know that they're screwed, and that is all they really have. All right. So if we have violence and we have athletics, should one of these be then, is athletics like raw might? Or would we consider that its own thing that's separate? Because to me, athletics is like run faster, jump higher. Is that the same as lift a burning car off of somebody?
I think it counts in the same position.
All right, then what are some other things that you feel are connected to that sort of, to like just physical skill? Training. Because I was about to say like your reaction speed, but I think that's sharp.
Yeah, I was thinking like defending, almost like you're the wall. I think that's under willpower though too.
Like a protect someone.
I think your willpower is your ability to mentally keep going. So I think that tenacity is the mental version of what you are describing, which is the actual ability to just keep taking hits. I don't mind calling it tentatively the wall. Like just you are a shield between your
Bulwark.
allies. Yeah. Oh, bulwark's better. I'll write that. Now I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm making little lines next to ones that I like. I like bulwark. I like tenacity. So we're getting some words in there that I want to keep a hold of.
Good.
All right. Can we think of?
We
one
have a comment
more?
from James. Welcome, James.
Hi,
Whoop-ass.
James.
Each character has a number of uses, aka cans of whoop-ass, they can use before needing to recharge.
Oh God, that's really good. You know who that would be good for? One of our survivors.
One of the classes.
The cowboy.
Yeah.
The cowboy, one of their abilities
can
being
of
called
whoop-ass.
Can of Whoop-ass is really good.
Yeah.
I'm
We'll
gonna
use
keep
that,
hold of
yeah.
that. So violence, athletics, bulwark. Do we want to move on again and leave that last one empty, or do we have one more? We don't have something for like I can do a triple somersault. Athletics is kind of doing that, but it doesn't feel like it covers tightrope walking.
If there's anything we're
Agility.
missing, I feel like it's the intelligence gathering aspect of this category. How can you use your might, dexterity, strength to get info?
This is not a good thing to say. I do think it's violence. I
guess so.
I think it's beating answers out of people. Because how
Yeah.
else do you, with just physique? Hey there, DM Inconspicuous. That's a fun
What up?
handle.
Welcome. Sick
That's good.
name.
I just don't understand how else with your physique you get info out of people other than beating them up in an alleyway.
Book is so heavy.
I keep picturing like smashing a file cabinet open and being like, I got it. So like overpower, but that's not anything. That could fit into another category.
I think it's
skip
just
for now.
violence.
Yeah,
alright.
if someone do that, I would say that was a violent act.
Yeah.
Oh, can I have one for physique that's stupid. Is the fourth ability for physique beautiful?
Oh, just so cut up that people are like,
the fourth ability for
"Whoa."
physique handsome? Like, it's just,
That's
it's not
so
about will.
funny.
It's just about, like, raw sex appeal. Like, you just look incredible.
I could see like an appeal thing in there. I think that write down appeal for now, and we'll double back and we'll question it.
It's very fun to get to mechanically play the archetype of a character with 0 charisma who is just so hot that there's nothing that can be done about it. They're just, it's like, and then there's Tom. Because everybody has a friend who's like, there's Tom. He barely knows how to talk, and he reads at a 2nd grade level, and he gets his hand on more bumper than a body shop. He is the
guy looks
most...
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So now we kick on to Sharp. We have one in the Sharp category already that I think fits, which is Command. And then I one of the abilities in Sharp needs to be Gun, right?
Yeah.
Needs to be gun, bow and arrow, needs to be like munitions.
hmm
Yeah.
I think, munitions works for now.
Munitions are
Violence.
precise.
And then put in parentheses range.
What was the first word you said? I only heard parentheses range.
Violence, parentheses range.
Ranged. Yeah, well, that's what we're describing, yeah. All right, so I'll put sort of like precision.
I would say hello to Buzzkill 2.
What up, Buzzkill?
Buzzkill 2, you better not live up to your name!
If you want to explain what we're doing really quick, they have asked.
Yeah, so we are currently working on a Forged in the Dark system. We're going to make just the groundwork of it here live on stream. This is our 3rd stream of doing it, but don't worry, we don't. There isn't too much cross-train there other than a couple of references we're going to make. So what we're doing right now, basically, is making the skills for a Blades in the Dark game. In a Blades in the Dark game, you have 3 broad categories called your attributes. That includes things like, your mental power, your physical power, and your kind of willpower, your perceptive ability, which is what we're doing now. And then beneath each of those, you have actions. Now, there's a whole mechanic tied to that that's a little too complicated for me to want to explain, but basically all you need to know is the more you invest, the easier it is to get out of trouble. That's really what it breaks down to. So what else do we have in Sharp other than commanding presence, precision? Is there some version of, Spencer, you said perception. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, putting things together. Perception, and there could be some sort of like intelligence gathering, finding the clues, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that's great. So I'm going to put Jason Bourne above Sharp because I think that that's pretty much just where we're at here, right? I do think we should have some version under Sharp of a pretty direct one-to-one from Blades in the Dark of Tinker, of like rig up a tripwire, make a trap, something like that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hijinks.
All right, hijinks. That's good. Okay, so in that case, we only have one empty spot left, and so I do think we need to truck back on over to Will. But first, I'm going to break down each one, and we'll see if there's anything we think needs to come or go. Our third category is Sharp. That's your general ability to perceive and notice trouble. Under that, we have Command. You speak with authority and clarity. We have Precision. You are keen of eye and have a steady hand. Under that, we have Awareness. You take in all of the information around you. You don't miss a beat. And then we have Hijinks. You can, as James has just said, MacGyver. You can rig up devices, interact with the world, and set traps for those that may come after. Category 2, we have Physique, physical ability. For the first one, we have Violence. You have been trained to enact your will on others. For the second, we have Athletics. Your body is a tool and you know how to use it. For number 3, we have Bulwark. You are the wall between your friends and harm. And for number 4, we have Appeal. You cannot be resisted, which I think is really funny. And now we have number 1, which is Will, your mental ability to keep going. In the first, we have Magic, your ability to use the tools of the enemy without falling to their vanities. I think that's solid. We have Charisma, your ability to influence the people around you. And we have Tenacity, your ability to keep going when other people would not. Is there anything that we're missing there broadly? Because we just have one spot left in Will. I think that we have this sense of, like mentally keeping going, of being able to sort of put out your influence, and then this kind of magical, pretty clearly just magical ability. The only thing I think we're really, we might be missing. I lost it. The music paused and it threw me off. I was on the tip of my tongue. No.
Buzzkill has asked about luck.
Yeah, is there a luck mechanic? There's a luck mechanic of some kind in Blades in the Dark, right? We talked about it a little bit. The closest thing that Blades in the Dark has is called Fortune Roll. I see what you mean. Putting luck as an action under Will.
That's pretty fun.
I
like characters having luck as an enforceable thing. Like, you're in this dark, cramped place, there's nothing around you. You roll and you've got a high ability for luck. So it's like, I find a small hole that the last person dug out.
We've had luck, we've had fortune, and then James has just said spark of inspiration. I think these are all connected. I kind of like spark. Either spark or luck. I think both work. Is there a way to express that as, like, how do I put this? Everybody I know who thinks they are lucky are not actually lucky. They just only notice the good things that happen to them, and they ignore all of the bad things that happen to them. I think that maybe that would be a little bit more authentic version of this, right? Because I don't want to imply that you are... Because I think that a character with magic would be the one that would say, oh, no, I'm supernaturally lucky.
Yeah.
Is it too close to tenacity to make number 4 optimism, or, that sort of ability to only see the positives of the situation? Because that feels like a version of willpower, right? I don't know any optimists who don't also have to work pretty hard to stay the way that they are.
Yeah. It feels close with tenacity. Tenacity does feel a little bit more violence-centric, whereas the other one is situational, so there is a difference, but it is close.
The first thing I was thinking was like half full, glass is half full.
Glass half full. Yeah.
It's tough. We're 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
I think let's spend one more minute on it and then kick on to our next thing.
Okay. It doesn't quite fit, but it doesn't. I used the word last stream, Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, that would be the luck mechanic.
Yeah, your luck mechanic just being called Deus, just being called gods, I think is extremely funny. I like that. Magic, charisma, tenacity, and then I'm gonna put fortune. as a temporary.
Yeah.
With a question mark, just because I think it would be a good idea for us to kick on to the next thing. And I like the idea that you have a character that you can narrate that however you want, having that kind of unnatural luck. I feel like does happen in these movies, like there is in this,
for sure.
genre. There's one character who seems kind of bulletproof, who has that ability to just sort of spur these things onward.
They see the open window. They like see the bit of glimmering light through the tunnel. Like that always happens.
Yeah, I think I am. I think I am going to put fortune, or I am going to put half full. I think it does work. I think it is a lot different than tenacity. Tenacity would be you looking at the door, so like Shadow over Innsmouth style, right? You awake in your hotel room in the middle of the night. You've been investigating a strange town. The door to your room is being shouldered in. Tenacity is you get low, break a leg off a chair, and face the door. Fortune is you look around to the window and go, I'm only one floor off the ground, open it, and hop out the window, just like, this'll probably be fine. I think that is the sort of distinction. And so I think when you're rolling tenacity, it's to like get through an obstacle. When you're rolling fortune, it's to avoid an obstacle with convenient surroundings. Where magic would be, I close the door with my mind or whatever. And where charisma would be putting on an accent and saying, who is it? We have just invented maybe one of my new favorite DMing tools, which is if you're trying to decide like skills and stuff, how would you interact with a door? It's really funny. Like
that's fun.
Someone's trying to break into your room. What do you do? Is a good device to be like, how do you define the skill that you are talking about?
Yeah,
like strength, dexterity, strength is beating the door down the other way. Dexterity is jumping out the window. Constitution is holding it shut. Intelligence is wedging something under the door. Wisdom is, I think that's solid.
Charisma saying, stop it.
Yeah.
Michael, what did you see?
Buzz said adrenaline boost, maybe? I think adrenaline boost is an awesome, like, ability.
That's physical.
For a class. Yeah, for like a class action.
Yeah, for that I'm looking at probably this is you go back and watch our earlier streams. Two of our sort of archetypes we have. I think the Tainted and the Creature are both great ones to have adrenaline rush. The Creature being able to just like lift the tank up over its head, I think is really solid expression there.
For those who are watching on Twitch, you can catch us on YouTube under Foolhardy Press.
Yes.
That's where we've got all of our VODs saved. Click on the live and you can watch our old ones.
There's several years worth. I wouldn't go back too far. Yeah. We've gotten better
just
with
time. This one.
Yeah. All right, so up next then, let's hop on so that we can sort of keep our minds fresh and move on to the next thing here. The next thing we need to do. So in Blades in the Dark, you have stress and trauma. You burn points of stress to get the edge in a failing situation. If you burn too much, you can gain trauma. Now, in our game, we decided that instead you have hope, which is less of a health bar that takes damage, the way that stress is, and is more like having, key points or spell slots. You have a certain amount of hope, and you burn through it as the situation gets more desperate, which I think just kind of makes sense. And we've decided that when you run out of hope, you gain, we tentatively titled it a despair. So my first question is, do we still like despair? And then, what are those conditions? Like, what is that terrible result? Let me give you the options for Blades in the Dark. For Blades in the Dark, you gain traumas, which include cold, you're not moved by emotion; haunted, you're often lost in reverie; obsessed, you're enthralled by one thing; paranoid, you imagine danger everywhere; reckless, you have little regard for your own safety; soft, you've lost your edge; unstable, your emotional state is volatile; and vicious, you seek opportunities to hurt people. So that's their example. Pretty extreme, but in a similar direction that we want to go. Do we still like despair? And what do we think are some examples we can give of what you take on when you run out of hope in one of these situations?
I do still like despair. I think that when you are hopeless, you enter into a state of despair. That works great. Losing the edge is perfect. That's sort of integral to these stories. The character that's like, I'm not doing it anymore. It's not worth it. I don't care about the rest of the world. I'm going to survive. So I think that one's solid.
Okay, so
I'm trying to think of the word for non-responsive.
Shock?
That's not really the. Yeah. You're in shock.
catatonic.
Catatonic. That's the word I was looking for.
All right, so catatonic as our second one, and then for your first one, I think it's a little different. So I'd like to find a different word. Right? It's just giving up, because it's not quite the same thing. It's almost defeatist or nihilistic. It's like there is no point to this. Why are we continuing?
Yeah. I think nihilistic work. There's no point.
Maybe even just hopeless. I don't know. That's maybe a little on the nose. Hopeless, and then the effect could be like you can only hold so much hope for the rest of the adventure. I think it's good. Do we have any? What are some other like really foundational? I think my next one would be maybe not foolhardy, because we want to use that somewhere else. Would be like you start really diving into the danger. I feel weird about having it be suicidal, which is what I think it would fundamentally be. I think we should probably use a different term, but that's the spirit of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's that like you start blindly rushing in because you haven't necessarily lost your hope. You've lost your sense.
Yeah. Your inhibitions have been... Inhibitionless is too long of a word.
Release your inhibitions. Feel the rain on your skin.
Yeah, exactly. You're
all
feeling
right.
the rain.
Reckless.
Reckless.
Reckless,
Yep.
yeah.
Reckless definitely works. Rage. What we saw going.
I was thinking like haunted.
Oh yeah.
This would be like the monster is communicating with you now that you've broken down in some way. It's talking at you and you're listening.
God, if we're going for gothic horror, nihilistic, catatonic, reckless, and haunted are all pretty good.
They fit.
Good. I think our next one needs to be depressed. Needs to be morose,
Yeah.
depressed, melancholy.
Morose is good.
All right, so we have nihilistic, which is there is no point. We have catatonic, which is you are barely receiving the outside world. We have reckless, which is you are diving in. We have haunted, which is you have begun to sort of cross over. We have morose, which is you are just despondent. It's not the same as nihilistic. I think the nihilist is still going to keep fighting on. The morose is just like, oh, it may as well go this way. You know, the sort of crying into a notebook the whole time. Do we have another one in there somewhere?
Michael said rage, like enraged, and I had a word and I don't remember what it was. But it's just short fused. You lose your temper basically immediately.
Wit's end.
Yeah.
Wit's end?
Yeah. Write that down.
Write that down. This is what this entire stream feels like. By the way, if I can recommend, if you want to get better at DMing and prepping adventures, start a stream with two of your friends you play D&D with and come up with 6,000 ideas over the course of 2.5 years. And you will, that moment of like, that's the word! Ah! That sense there. All right, so that's great. I think we nailed it. That's enough of those already. On to our next here. So in Blades in the Dark, when you complete jobs, you get coin. That coin goes into your stash, and you can spend that coin to upgrade your facilities, to upgrade some abilities, your equipment, and all kinds of things. Now, in this setting, I don't think that makes any sense. We aren't going to be dealing with that a lot. Now, what we talked about last time very quickly, and I just want to pin it down for a moment, we talked about some version of like clout, authority, notoriety. People basically begin to believe you when you say this. There's my cat. People basically just start believing you when you say some of the buck wild stuff that you were going to say. How do we feel like we can kind of capture that? And let me take a peek and see if there's any mechanics that we're missing.
I would just put down reputation, because that can cover a pretty wide gamut of things. James said mojo.
Mojo.
But yeah, essentially this is you went out and you did this thing. The town is also being haunted. So in universe, the tale teller would be saying, the town is getting attacked. People are seeing these things as you are doing your missions. People see you are active. and you've got some mojo behind you.
Buzz has also said aura.
Aura.
Yeah, there you go. Just raw aura. All right, so I think we're nailing down the idea, though, and I think it's good. It means that chat is sort of on our same wavelength. I think that's good. So, if we wanted to really get into the weeds right now, there are values associated with coins, so we could spend some time thinking about what it means to have different levels of reputation. So 1 coin is a full purse of silver pieces, a week's wage. 2 coins is a fine weapon, a weekly income for a small business. 4 coin is a satchel full of silver, a month's wage. 6 coin is an exquisite jewel. 8 coins is a monthly take for a small business, a safe full of coins. 10 is a carriage and goats, a horse, a deed to a small property. Like, you liquidate basically everything you have.
How many aura points is going to take for a lackey?
Yeah, interesting. I think
Yeah, kind.
because it would need to be something like 1 point of reputation is a trusted source, a new ally. 10 points of reputation is a mob follows you, torches burning. You can organize a militia.
I'm picturing the like pre-game talk, or like during game when they're like, "What is the next thing we're going to do?" When the keeper lays out like, "You've got 4 different plot threads ahead of you. One of them, you enter into Dracula's castle. The other one, you go to the sheriff and you break out this person who's raving madmanly. And the first one, that gets you, if you successfully do it, 6 coins, 6 aura, 6 mojo. The second one gets you 2 because it's supposed to be quiet, you're getting in and out, nobody's really going to know about it. So the difference in quest line, giving you the different amounts, I think makes sense and is cool to talk about when it's like, you're going to do something incredibly dangerous and scary, you're getting a bunch of points. But if you're doing something kind of chill, you're not going to get as much.
Now, what's the equivalent of stash? Because in the game, your goal for your character kind of is to make enough money to retire. And once your stash is large enough, you can leave. You can say, my character retires from the gang and like goes away. They live on the countryside now. And so your goal is to save as much as you can so that you can peace out with a small fortune. So I'm worried now that I'm thinking about it that way, that reputation is closer to stash than to coin. And that, like, we're with this chat of like aura, mojo does feel maybe a little bit more like the daily version of reputation, right? Oh, blank is really important. Like, people tell you that and you're like, oh, great. The next time you see them, you'll be a little bit nicer, is different than like them being on the cover of a magazine in your field, which would be they are well known, right? Do we think that reputation sorts into either of those, better or worse?
I think it still works in the original sense because the stash is just the buildup of your reputation, whereas the actual aura is the amount you get per job. It's the same thing, essentially. And you can play it out different ways. Everybody in town knows you.
Well, not quite. In Blades in the Dark, the stash is something you put coin into. You like keep adding to
I see
it.
what you mean.
Your stash is like something to the side. It's like the side goal of your. So if reputation is the main stat, I think that's fine. I like that. So what do we call this like more evasive? Like, how do I put this? The main characters in Dracula, your Jonathan Harkers, your Mina Harkers, all those people, they are all building a reputation. They're beginning to learn what to do. I almost called him Rudolph von Richten. Whoopsie, that's too much D&D for you right there. Van Helsing already has a full stash. Everybody knows what Van Helsing does. When he speaks, people listen. What do we call that?
See, I kind of agree with you, Ethan. I think reputation is the stash, and like mojo is what you spend. It's you're using your mojo to get something.
Now, I like mojo for one character's ability. I do think it is a little too silly to be the overall name.
It
doesn't have to be mojo then, but I feel like reputation feels like stash. It's like you're building all this reputation to have to finally, I say get out of the gig, but to be like the head, and you're no longer doing all this action. You're training people to do the action for you.
I will say, James just said, what about a political or social currency? Good news, James. We're talking about tier, hold, and turf right next.
What about influence? I feel like that's still not quite.
You're in the right direction. Like influence, favors, right? It's that initial feeling. Is somebody owing you one?
Yeah.
Or trust,
authority, prestige. Yeah. No, station doesn't work. I got clout again, which is hilarious.
Click clout if you're on thesaurus.com. Let me see what words are like clout.
It's not anachronistic, but clout does sound like it because we use it the way we do now.
I know, but it's close. It's so close. It's right there.
Influence, power, pull, weight, sway, leverage, control, dominance,
weight and sway.
Weight and sway.
So sway turns to reputation, or weight turns to reputation. I think sway's a little better just because it's a little less attached. How do we feel about that?
Sure.
I like that.
I'm cool with that.
And I like that because sway is temporary. Reputation lasts. All right.
Do you think we can get negative reputation?
I think negative reputation is 0. Is no one believes you. Is you tell people what's going on and they lock you up in the loony bin and throw away the key. Is you end up in a padded cell. Now, can
we acquire it's not negative, but like take away from a reputation?
Yeah, so in Fortune in the Dark games, you can spend your coin, or in this case, you could spend sway to get better and like get better results on things, which is you basically like burning these favors and needing to.
It's also how we fill out our B and C teams. You're burning your sway. To get more people on your team because the last group died. So you burn your sway to talk to the sheriff and his guards and say, we need your help. And then you lose those points.
That's really interesting. So it's a way to like buff them up. Maybe even if it's not a way to, because we part of the game mechanic is that you always have them. I think it's a good way to upgrade them. You need to use your sway to make them more likely to survive. It'd be very funny to play a game where you're like, oh no, we burn all of our sway on the C team so that we know we can get out of death every time. I think would be really fun. Just a decrepit group. No one believes you. The odds are all against you. And there's this group of heroes that are the C team that are like, we've got it. That just handle all your problems. Is really funny. Not something that I think a lot of people that will do, but I think will come up eventually, right? The right group.
I have a non sequitur here that we can't do because we're too far into game design. But I'm picturing the C team as the starting group. You build up enough sway to add to your reputation pile, like 3, and then you get bumped up to a B team category, and then you build up enough sway of like 6, and then you get to be an A team member and get all of your abilities and special attributes and stuff. We're not doing that, chat. I'm putting that out there right now, but I'm imagining
it would be a really fun alternate play style. Would it be like starting as the C team, being like on the back of the book is like, if you want to play like a way more grim version of this, you can start as the C team playing hyper lethal adventures and just seeing who can claw through and live long enough to get up to B team. And then you're doing research and the C team is still going until the B team can claw their way up to actually being useful in the A team.
It is a cool idea. Buzz said, so it's like spending your honor. 100% yes.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so up next is tier and hold. So this is, we've kind of crossed a little bit with this reputation thing we're talking about, which I think is fine. This is a little different. This is more about your, like, ability to control the area around you. This is part of the faction game. So your tier is how powerful is in Blades in the Dark, it's how powerful is your gang, and hold is how embedded in the area are you? How hard is it to, like, ferret you out and get you out of a place. So those are kind of the two versions that they have. We might just end up wanting to keep tier and hold. But my question was just, is there any other way that we visualize that working, or do we not like the mechanic and want to cut it all together? Right, this idea that you are low-level monster hunters, you are low tier. You've done a few things, you have a little bit of sway, you're making it work, a few of you have a reputation, but you can build up and spend, and then you can be in a higher tier. People know you, like, in different cities as you travel. They would know you. You can pull in more things. And then hold would be, do you have people around you that are willing, you know, to sort of put their lives on the line to keep you going as you continue on your adventure?
I like that how it is. I think that it still functions perfectly well with our game system.
Okay, then in that case, I'm not even going to jot a note. I think that just works. This happens too. Sometimes you're like, oh wait, skeleton. You don't need to come up with a cool, fancy skeleton. You just go, no, they're just going to fight a skeleton in the next room. It's like, yeah, that works. Everybody loves a skeleton.
Do we have different wordage we would like to use?
I don't dislike tier and
no.
hold. I would say maybe hold implies that it is against the will of the people there, which makes sense in the kind of like criminal setting of Duskfall, which is what Blades in the Dark is in. I would say maybe tier and hold could be replaced with like support.
Yeah. Support works.
Damn, you don't like it though, huh?
I'm just trying to think of other words. I think it works better than hold. Hold, if anything, is just a little bit confusing
Just a
verbiage
word.
to begin with. So anything is better than hold in my mind.
Support, aid.
Yeah.
This might be where we use authority.
Supply.
Authority and support, right? Your tier is your authority. It's how much will people
Yeah.
actually listen to you. And then hold is your support, is how much will the local people help you stay
Yeah.
doing what you're doing, right? I'm thinking of like Vallaki. I'm thinking of the places in Curse of Strahd where there is a little bit of resistance going around. The Were Ravens and things like that, or the Knights of the Silver Dragon is another one. Those are the people that are like willing to stay on your side if you can make them an ally. I think that works. Authority and support.
Perfect.
And then
Because it is different. Authority is like people believe you. Support is people will help you. Totally different shit.
now here's one that I'm not sure fits anymore is turf. Is like having that little chart that you are trying to like build out and expand
Yeah.
your control over. Do we have some version of that we like a little bit better?
Not necessarily.
Because I feel like in fiction it would just break down to like having a safe place to go. It would just be like safe house. But that's
And
an
you
ability.
just have it or you don't.
Yeah, you either have it or you don't.
It could be. Good.
I just saying thank you to Buzz for that follow.
Thank you for the follow.
Shout out, Buzz.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Here's what I'm thinking. It is a like a safe house of some sort. It could be the church. It could be one of these people's mansions. Whatever. But as you rank it up, it gives you different bonuses, advantages, and things like that. Private library could be something you unlock after doing missions and making money and gaining influence, where now you've collected these tomes of knowledge. There could be protection against the undead. We've sanctified the grounds here. So instead of gaining territory, it's bolstering your safe area with benefits and some sort of safe house abilities. I can see that. That's the only thing I can really picture, though.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like safe house. Safe
Yeah, 'cause I don't
house,
think we-
haven.
Yeah, I don't think we want our territory to really reach super far in a sense.
Yeah, because
No.
this is the place the A team goes back to, and the B team is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that works. Yeah, because the whole purpose of our game keeps you from being able to like gain ground on this, right? That wouldn't fit the metric at all because nowhere is like really safe. I gotta
No.
say, we are really sticking to the. It's very easy to visualize. I'm thinking specifically of like I said this a bunch last time. It's staying true. Weirdly, we are making the Blade RPG. Like, there's always a safe house. There's always a tech guy there. They usually die by the end. There's. Always 75 just random cops and stuff that get killed in 4 seconds, but give Blade the time he needs to like jump from rooftop to rooftop and escape. All right, cool. That's a really funny. Now I do have to say, I never visualized the C team that way. I always viewed it as like their friends and allies. You could narrate it as just the door gets kicked in and it's like, I don't know, what do you call it? Like bobbies, right? Like a policeman in London kicks it in with a stick and is like, "Oh, you better stop it!" And it's like, and that's the whole thing. That's pretty good.
And that's what I was thinking about spending reputation to get C team members back. Whatever the terminology we decided on. Because they're going to get killed all the time. Burning that, so it's like, now we've got the sheriff. Now we've got the boys down at the lumber mill. Now we've got, I don't know, the newsies. Like, we're just burning through it.
We have them down as the ill-fated for now.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then our next big one. This is how you clear stress in Blades in the Dark, is your vice. Your vice is the, sort of nefarious way that you manage to clear some of your stress as you continue. If I mosey on over to stress and trauma... Oh, goodness gracious.
The SRD.
I know, I'm trying to find where it is in our great big old document here.
I was gonna say, do you have it on the... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, it's on downtime. I got it. So examples of vice. You risk overindulging, which can get you into trouble. And then where are our vice? There's like categories, isn't there? Keep going.
Yeah,
keep going.
there's
You can talk
the
about other
proposed vices, but Michael, go ahead.
And this is for like our despair, hopelessness, right?
Yeah, this is ways to build those back.
Yeah. The first, it's not great, but it's funny. Charity, like I can't do this big thing, but at least I can do this little thing.
That's great. It is. I'm going to go to the animal shelter and take care of the weak, because at least then I get to be with something warm and comforting. Like, that makes perfect sense. So there's charity, there would be gambling. There's always gambling of some variety.
Yeah, so then my question is, so are we keeping vice? I think is that something we're still interested in? Do we like the idea that your character has, a vice that you are working on?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if we would call it vice, though. If we don't want it to be pretty inherently negative, because I don't think it needs to be. I think that it can be negative, or it can be something like charity. So it'd be like the recuperation items, hobbies. That's not exactly what I'm looking for. Let me look up vice synonyms real quick.
Oh, vices. So in Blades in the Dark, I finally found it. That took a long time. The vices in Blades in the Dark are faith, gambling, luxury, obligation, pleasure, stupor, and weird.
Okay.
So that's what they're
Let's
doing.
just keep it as vices for now, because I can't find anything cool.
Yeah, it's every scoundrel is enthralled to some vice or another which they indulge to deal with stress. Choose a vice from the list. Can I think a pretty perfect 180 pivot, instead of vice, I would say maybe ideal. The thing that you cannot abandon, right? The true to yourself. Jonathan Harker's in Dracula is Mina Harker. Mina Harker's in Dracula, I don't think is Jonathan. I think it is, right? Train Schedules, actually. If you ever read through that book, she loves trains. Representation in media, let's go. We've got a lot of others there. So that's my first thought, is some version of like your ideal, or bonds, to steal a term from Delta Green, another really great. So for the record, Call of Cthulhu is an Eldritch Horror RPG where everybody dies. Delta Green is a modern Eldritch Horror RPG where everybody dies. And in that one they have bonds, which is sort of their own version of it. It's like bonds, ideals.
I think ideals, and have one of the ideals be like family, loved ones. So you are essentially doing the same thing, but it's not pigeonholing everybody to be like, who's important to you?
So one of the ideals is bond. Another one is charity.
I think we could still have vice in ideals too.
Oh yeah, no, that's hilarious. One of the ideals is vice.
Yeah. And it's like, I fucking love I'm trying to think of the word for people that
and we have a character class like
embrace-
built for that. We have the Rake.
Yeah, exactly. I can't think of the word.
You know what?
But yeah,
What-
okay.
Or like embrace
Hedonism.
Like, yeah,
Hedonism. There you go.
There it
This
is.
is. I have one that's for nobody. Spencer will get it, and maybe a couple of our viewers will. I hope. Wayne from Mistborn Era 2. His ideal is vice. His ideal is
Yes.
lying and cheating and drinking and yeah. No, I think that's great.
I could see something like justice.
Oh,
So that
yeah.
would be dishing out justice on people, just sort of out in the world.
So while they're not being this superhero, they're still Batman.
Yeah, you can't turn it off. Like, you're going out and you're still doing it, even when you're not hunting vampires.
I think
or
another
whatever.
one is some version of like informed, researched. It's dipping into the B team a little bit, but not too much, right? It's like smarts, mind,
Yeah.
learned.
depend. I think
Saturday
learned
Night
is
News.
fun. You're hitting the stacks is what you're doing. So learn it, I think, is good.
All right,
Yeah.
that's 5. If we don't have another one, I think we could shuffle on. Do we have another one in the tank somewhere? So we have bonds, charity, vice, justice, and learned.
We could do brawn as an antithetical to learned. You're hitting the weights, brother. You're trying to get your mind and body right.
Sure, brawn. And then I'm actually going to add a 7th, prepared.
Yeah.
It's different than brawn. It's not push-ups. It's, methodically cleaning your gun for 3 hours and, getting ready for whatever comes next. Van Helsing's ideal is either learned or prepared, and I think it's more prepared.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's pretty good. Okay, cool. So that is the vice. With that, how are we doing on time here? We have 23 minutes left. There's only 2 things left, and one of them we might not want to do. So we might be going back, and now that everybody's roped in, renaming all our attributes and actions, just as I promised. So the only other thing we could do if we wanted, there is the sort of like starting builds I think are pretty interesting. I don't know if we're going to have the time to get through a lot of them. So the starting builds, for example, I'm trying to find a good equivalent for our own sort of practice here. Let me find one really quickly, as quickly as I can at least. If I go to our survivors here, and I have the cowboy, the professor, the urchin, the rake, the tainted, the coward, the witness, and the creature. If I compare the tainted with, is it the whisper? Yeah, the whisper. The whisper is the arcane adept channeler in Blades in the Dark. They speak to ghosts, they do all this stuff. There are 4 starting builds for the Whisper, and they are the Summoner, the Cultist, the Channeler, and the Dark Scholar. And they give you an idea of like which actions and attributes you are the most likely to pay into, and an ability that you are the most likely to choose. I don't necessarily think it's something we're going to do right now. I just wanted to bring it up because we do. Yeah. It is a pretty big part of character creation in the game because it gives you that kind of like setup. Or we can kick it back. I
think kick it back. That's going to be pretty fine-tuned.
Yeah, it just I was wondering if you were going to be like, let's do one. All right, so we'll kick it back to the other thing, and then if we have the time, maybe we'll do one. We'll do it for the cowboy. We'll find a couple of the starting builds and see how we feel. All right, people, it's the moment you've all been dreading. It's time for us to circle back. This is an email you all hate to see. Can I circle back with you on that next meeting? Never a good thing. All right. So, attributes and actions, but this time we mean it for real. So, up first is will. That is what we currently have down. I think that's interesting. Not the most, to use Spencer's favorite term in the English language, evocative. Will is a little general. Is there another term for that sense of will? And to remind us what's underneath it, it's your ability to use magic, it's your ability to influence other people, it's your ability to be tenacious in the face of adversity, and it's your ability to see or maybe manifest the bright side in dark situations. I don't dislike will, we could keep it.
Do we have resolve anywhere?
No, we don't have resolve anywhere. I think resolve's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right.
I like resolve.
All right, so resolve, right? Because it's a little different than will. It's not the same as just sort of thinking your way out of the box.
I'll throw a second option up just for debate purposes. Where I've lost it. Discipline.
Ooh. I would
Because
say
that kind of encompasses.
discipline might be a better alternative for tenacity.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I like resolve more.
All right.
All right, resolve.
So resolve. Up first, we need to name our magic stat. I just want to say something to the two people that went, "Oh no, they're really gonna do it," and headed out. I respect you. I respect you know what your time's worth. I respect that. All right, magic. How do we view one of you's back? Hello. Couldn't get enough. No, I'm kidding. All right. So how do we view magic in this world? Is magic something that we imagine a lot of our characters are going to do?
We made it very mental when we were talking about it before, and I think that that's still pretty accurate. I don't anticipate them throwing fireballs at Dracula. That shit is not a horror story at all.
I do
But
think
them
there's-
being like, I'm rolling the bones and I'm gonna see a vision of the future. Yeah. So like occultism, some shit like that.
I think if you want to
Unnatural.
capture the feeling for me of playing this game and having the ability to use magic, you should read. We've been talking about this so much lately. I just finished it. Definitely some rough mid '80s fantasy stuff going on in it, but the Black Company is full of incredibly powerful wizards being just slaughtered left and right every time they're on screen. They're just like they conjure a tornado of fire and then their throat is ripped out by a were-jaguar, and you're like, oh my god, that was
Wow.
we just met that guy. All right, so we like the magic is a little bit more mental. It's a little bit more about like, it's more occult, maybe occultism is my first thought.
What about devilry?
Devilry? I'm writing it
What
down.
do we think about the term
It's-
devilry?
That was good. And it's really funny because Buzz just said, maybe faith?
sort of, and
Same, but
Antithesis,
different. But
yeah.
same, but different.
I like the
flip.
concept of it being. I think faith might be a good alternative. My main issue is just I've never seen a horror movie where faith works, except for maybe like
Yeah.
The Exorcist.
the holy water will hit sometimes. I fucking like
I wonder
devilry.
if we could put that in somewhere. You've got us thinking though, if maybe faith does have a spot in here somewhere. Having devilry and faith is pretty, like fortune being called faith. Oof. All right, let's think about it. We'll get there in two shakes. All right, number 2 is your charisma. We just have straight up charisma right now. Charisma, magnetism, pull. What are we thinking?
We already
Now,
have sway. So we can't say
everything else is timely and isn't weird and modern. And then this one is Riz. and with no
Riz.
explanation, we just say Riz.
But
Allure.
also- Oh, sorry.
Allure
Sorry,
is
guys.
good.
Allure's
It's a little too
good.
close to appeal, that physique.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, Buzz also said blood sacrifice. I think
Definitely a character ability.
character ability, or is how Sonny explains how their magic works
For
sometimes.
sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Devilry is so funny. All right. So charisma. I'm being drawn to magnetism because it's a little bit more generic.
Yeah, I like magnetism.
Is there
What are the
something
what are the
shorter?
subcategories that we have right now
What do you mean?
under the charisma ability, the overarching thing, or is that one of the
No,
specifics?
so it's resolve, devilry, charisma,
Okay.
tenacity, fortune.
magnetism for sure.
Yeah.
Magnetism, and I'm gonna give it an asterisk because maybe we should find a shorter word. I like it.
Magnetic.
Magnetic would save us one word, one letter. That's not bad. Often that's all you need. We'll take a stab at it. All right, magnetism, tenacity. I like tenacity, but
I like tenacity.
Good sauce is good.
you know, maybe for the energy of the game, maybe these should be a little longer. Maybe we don't need them all to be like super duper brief, right? This is like a gothic horror, like surviving the night kind of game. And then for fortune, what do we think of? It's fortune or faith. What do we think of faith as replacing fortune or glass half full?
I think faith works totally fine with you jump out the window and you just believe there's going to be something down there, and it works. Your faith pays out, pays dividends.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have to be faith in a higher being. It can be
Yeah.
Oh, and we can
faith in just being I think I'll be all right, so I will be.
You believe that things are going to work out. Or you can have faith in a higher power and that's the thing that's going to protect you. Sure.
So our second category is physique. Our second attribute is physique. And I would like to make an argument given resolve, devilry, magnetism, tenacity, and faith. A physique, I think, might be well replaced by vigor.
Yeah.
It just feels a little bit more... I'm getting a little bit more like... This is something that would be on the back of a medicine that is just straight up cocaine mixed with alcohol in the 1800s. Like, it gives you back your vim and vigor.
Let me pull up a quick vigor synonym.
Yeah.
Strength, fitness, ruggedness, toughness. All these are too long. Radiance is a crazy term that popped up here.
I've never... Can you imagine somebody at, like, the Arnold Classic being like, look at that radiant build.
He's radiant. Yeah, no, I think that you're right. I think vigor works.
Vigor's good.
Again, it just gives me that energy of an ad, of a hand-drawn ad in a newspaper in, like, Elizabethan Victorian England. That's like, you know, get your vigor back with this pill. It's definitely not just lead.
Yeah,
all right.
Snake oiler.
Violence. Vigor, category 1.
I mean...
Violence.
I like violence. It is exactly what it says on the tin.
Clip that, chat. I like violence.
I like violence. Yeah, no, I think violence works. Clip that again.
I think violence works. I mean, historically, you've got us. Do violence, so then athletics?
Athletics is one that I think I do want to swap, just because of D&D.
Because of that damn dungeon and those darn dragons.
I would say it doesn't fit with the wordage, especially for the last subcategories.
So resolve, devilry, magnetism, tenacity, faith, vigor, violence.
How about exertion?
Exertion's pretty good.
Okay.
Ooh, James, maybe on the next one, James has said coordination, which I like to replace precision. We can chat about that.
Coordination for the next is good.
What did you just say, though? What was the one that you liked?
Exertion.
Exertion is good. Yeah, I like that because it's a little bit less. I'm going to put on a leotard and do a backflip.
Yeah.
Right, exertion can be kind of its own thing. All right, and then bulwark, which we might keep as bulwark.
Keeping bulwark for sure. That just rules.
All right, and now our last one, raw sex appeal. What's appeal? Radiance.
Not.
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, to be enamored, enamity,
amorous,
amorous,
enticing, alluring, beguiling.
Alluring's good.
Yeah.
Violence.
Allure
exertion,
would be
bulwark,
probably the
allure.
ability. Allure, yeah. How about tickle someone's fancy? Whet someone's appetite?
Can I say something?
Float someone's boat?
Allure is so good. As like, I don't know, there's something about, I love specifically separating magnetism and allure. I think is the strongest choice we've made. It's just so funny. I love that distinction. James with celebrity. Honestly, having one of the having like an alternate rule that instead of reputation you can call it celebrity.
Celebrity.
Is
That's cool. Famous monster hunters.
Famous monster hunters with a Blinchesters. All right, and now I don't think we can keep sharp. I think sharp needs to change.
Yeah. What is sharp covering?
Sharp covers command, precision, awareness, and hijinks. Super.
Do you want
douchey
to call it wit?
I was gonna say alacrity.
Oh God.
Oh. League of Legends.
Resolve, vigor, and awareness, and
acuity.
Acuity? Sounds a little too much like a word you put on an insurance form.
Acuity meaning, just to make sure I've got my sharpness or keenness of thought, vision, or hearing.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's right there.
It's
Yeah.
kind of right there. Let me hit up a synonym on
Sorry,
acuity.
I was giving you a hard time, and then in my head I said resolve, vigor, and acuity. And I think it does kind of go in there pretty good.
Yeah.
The other one I'm going to throw out there is guile. There
I like
is
acuity
guile.
a little better. I like acuity.
Yeah, I like
All right,
acuity
here it
more.
is.
Never in my life did I think we would be going with acuity. But it's right there and it works. All right. James hitting me with mentalism.
Oh, the mentalist as an optional category of character.
Let me write it down. Damn it, James. The mentalist. This is really funny, James. I wrote my graduate school thesis on the spiritualist and mentalist movement. Extremely funny. That's why I like this setting so much. I love the thought of getting to play characters living in this time where it's like, I believe in ghosts and I think cocaine gets them out of your blood, and like everybody was like, yes, it does. Everyone was like, obviously, that's what science says, and I just think it's
And what we're playing right now is, what if it was real?
And
What
they
if that
were
was
right?
true?
All right, command. Commands. This is that like clear, level-headed, tenacious sort of, that kind of military mind.
What about charge?
Charge. I like it. I'm worried it's going to be a little confusing. I get it, but I think
Yeah.
that some people might take it a little bit odd.
There's order or instruct. I could see instruct.
Instruct is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I like instruct.
All right, instruct. And then next up we have precision, which James gave us the alt coordination. Coordination,
Yeah, I like
precision. My only other thought is clarity.
Clarity.
But then we have awareness right around the corner.
Do coordination for this one. I do like coordination.
And then awareness.
And what was the one we just said is the
Clarity.
other option?
You don't like that? That's fine. Let it bounce.
Yeah.
Awareness.
Thinking.
Perception. Clarity. Alertness. Head on a swivel.
Acumen. Discernment.
Acumen?
I think acumen is probably the closest.
I'll tell you what, no one's gonna know that word.
No, business acumen is a common phrase.
I don't
I
think it
think-
is. I think you're
I
lying.
hear that.
I think that is a state thing. From your state.
Michael,
not-
I wanna be on your side, but I'm looking at devilry, exertion, and bulwark, and I'm just not sure that at this late hour we can say, but is everyone going to know the word? Acumen. All right. Michael brings up a valid point. We honor vetoes here. What is similar to that? Is there anything else in that, like, alert, aware, clear-headed, open-eyed?
Perspicacity. What do you think?
Honestly, throwing in a little perspicacity, is pretty fun.
There's discernment. Horse sense? Sorry, horse sense.
We can't do horse sense. We can't.
Safer fair.
Can you type in just like it's a word for situational awareness? It's like what we're really talking about.
Jason Bourning.
Yeah, I mean like it's boring.
Situational awareness, not meaning, synonym.
We put bornosity.
Consciousness.
Clarity.
I think clarity works the best out of everything I've seen. Attunement.
Pretty good. The only reason we can't use attunement is that attune is one of the skills in Blades in the Dark.
Yeah.
So that will get confusing. All right, acuity, instruct, coordination, clarity, and now now hijinks is our last. I
That's
don't
for
hate
our
hijinks.
tinkering,
It's
correct?
hijinks. It's tinkering.
Um, the first thing I think is like blacksmithing, tempering.
Tampering?
Yeah, I just think
Is it-
tamper.
Yeah.
Instruct, coordinate, clarity, tamper?
What about doodle? What about tinker? What about putter with?
Putterwith. There we go. It's over. We're going with Putterwith, of course. The only choice. Putterwith. Naturally.
Clown parentheses around.
Clown princess around? Fair enough thought. I actually do like tamper.
Yeah. And I'm gonna do a quick tamper synonym. Fool.
Fool. Fool.
Fool. Yeah, no, nothing here. Absolutely nothing here.
Are you not in on tamper? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
No, I like
Tamper.
tamper. I just wanted to give it one last look.
Tamper's not a word. There are no synonyms.
Tamper? That's made up.
All right, I'm going to go through the list, and I want you guys, and now it is time for each of you to get out your veto card and see if any of these feel stupid. Are you ready? All right.
Ready.
Resolve. Devilry, magnetism, tenacity, faith. All right. Vigor. Violence, exertion, bulwark, allure. All right. And acuity. Instruct, coordination, clarity, tamper.
I had one for instruct and I've forgotten it, so I can't use my veto because I don't remember.
But it's
the
in
cool
there.
word that
All
I
right,
had.
all right. So tentative. Everybody be ready. Steel yourselves. Get him, Spencer. Get him.
I think what it was dictate,
Shorter.
which I think is fun. Yeah.
So
Pretty
acuity.
So I'm gonna flash. I flash my veto card.
I like it. I like replacing it because I don't think it fits the structure that well. So acuity, dictate, coordination, clarity, tamper. All that's going to make me do is coordination. I am going to replace coordination. No, wait. It has to say coordination because it's not the same as coordinate. I'm gonna put an asterisk. I'm not gonna use my full veto card. I'm gonna put an asterisk next to coordination. I think it might be
Because it sounds like giving an order to like a team to make them function properly.
Yeah, I know.
I see where
It's
you're coming from.
because what I would like to call it is hand-eye coordination, but that's a little long. That's a little wordy.
Yeah.
Do we want to be like dexterous?
Dexterous. It's where I would put a word that I am very fond of, alacrity, which means dexterous, but I'm not sure is the best fit. Alacrity doesn't feel like a gun word. It feels like a knife word to me. That makes sense?
Yeah. I see that.
Yeah.
We previously had precision.
Adroit.
I love that, but I think that would people would be like.
But that's
"What the
so
fuck?"
Mike. I already see Michael's qualm with it, and I get it.
Even
This
among
one I'll agree with.
even among dictate and bulwark, I'm like, are we doing that?
Adroit.
Adroit?
Nobody's saying the word adroit. That's true.
Buzz did say something. It's a little off topic, but Ethan, I think you'd like it.
Okay.
There's like a mass. He says there was like a mass hysteria in the 1500s spread on fear that caused the dancing plague.
Yes.
I feel like it'll work in your campaigns pretty well. Sorry for being too off topic.
No such
It
thing
is
as
all
too
good to
long.
be off topic. We enjoy that stuff.
A dancing plague, looping in the Pied Piper as the primary antagonist.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, it writes itself.
100%.
Well, I think
Yeah.
some mysteries need to be left unsolved, and it's 9 o'clock, and coordination will stay as it is, and we will figure that out off stream. With that, I think we have named our abilities. We've gone through resolve, vigor, and acuity. Get me there. I think this is fun stuff. I will say for me, I think that working on Tales in the Dark has been a blast. I'm excited for us to keep working on it behind the scenes. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I encourage you, if you watched this and you enjoyed it, go watch the other two. See what you think of what we sort of drummed up there. Feel free to drop a comment. You know, we'll maybe do some retroactive poking around through some of those if you'd like. with that, I think we're good to go, right? I'm going to give us the breakdown. Did we want anything else? Any closing? Are we good to go?
No,
Good to go.
This was very fun. I think this is a nice send off for our game.
Yeah, we'll probably.
thank
be
you to the
back in
audience.
Yes, thank you to the audience for always chiming in. You guys are the best. We'll be back in the D&D sphere probably in this next one, talking about some ideas there, maybe coming up with new monsters and magic items and whatnot. Thank you all so much for watching. You can catch 3 streams here at Foolhardy Press. They all start at 7:30 p.m. On Sundays, you can catch Game Masters, Masters of Games, where we play games that we've already mastered or are trying to master. Not sure what we're going to be playing next, but I'm sure that we will be playing something exciting. On Mondays, you can catch The Party Makes Things Worse. That is our actual play stream. I'm currently running an adventure in Dungeons & Dragons called The Song of the Reliquary in the world of Prospect, which we came up with live on this very stream. On Tuesdays, you can catch the show you're watching now, DM Writer's Room, where we demystify the DMing process by coming up with monsters and magic items live. Check us out on YouTube, where Spencer makes all kinds of cool videos and shorts, and where you can catch all of our lives. Make sure to subscribe, especially if you're already watching on YouTube, if you like what you've seen here, so that you don't miss anything else. On itch.io, you can catch our first one-page RPG, The Last Thanksgiving, a turkey-tinged tale of vengeance, and soon Resonance, a mech RPG that we also came up with on this show. Then, of course, on the other one, which is called Drive-Thru RPG, you can catch The Lich's Dollhouse, our first level adventure to introduce new players to the game of Dungeons & Dragons. It's a very fun, pretty quick dungeon with some puzzles, some mazes, and a couple of other interesting things, and a magic item towards the end. With all of that being what it is, thank you so much for watching. I had to run through the mental checklist really quick and make sure that I'd gotten everything, and I do believe that I did. Thank you all so much for watching. Catch you on the next one. Peace out.
Bye.